All right, so the recording has already started. Quick recap of what we have done till now. Uh, can anyone just brief it out? What did we do last in our last session?
We actually saw
Yeah.
about the administrator profiles,
Mhm.
and we saw that we can customize the access that a person has for a particular firewall.
Correct. Okay. Anyone else? All right. Okay, so in our last session, what we discussed was we said that every time you have to open a FortiGate, right? You should have the uh, access to it, right? And access from the administration point of view, right? And when you're accessing the box, you want to sort of make the configuration changes, or you want to verify something, you want to read something, right? Having the shell level access, right? And shell basically can be GUI, it can be CLI, right? So uh, you become this way as an administrator. And this was the reason that when you boot the FortiGate for the very first time, it says that tell me what's your username, and by default there is this hard coded user, right? It was admin, and the password is trivial. I mean, you can just hit enter and then choose a password for it, and then this particular admin is always super user, right? We also discussed how many types of admins do we have, right? We have prof admin, we have super admin, uh, super admin read only. And we also said that if there's an L1 guy who's trying to access something, he just joined the company, so we sort of have an uh, customized admin profile for him, and we try to break down this admin profile thing, right? We said that it's nothing but the level of access that you actually can have uh, for a particular administrator, right? So all this stuff has already been discussed. Now, today, what we are going to discuss is the first thing, that if I have a box, let's get rid of this. If I have a box, right, and someone just came, he started, what do you call it? He started setting this up, setting this up. So it's more like you ordered a FortiGate for your company, right? They shipped it to you, and then eventually when you got it, you were told that you have to make this particular box as per our requirement. So we just have to fit it somewhere. We have to mount it somewhere in our network, right? So this is the LAN configuration. You just have to configure this particular interface with the corresponding IP address. You have to configure this particular interface with the IP. There is one more interface. You have to configure this one as well. You also have to take care of uh, like the initial configuration setup. And whenever we talk about the initial configuration, we have already discussed, we try to make it very categorical. We said that four things, right? DNS. Yeah, just help me. What's the next one? When we are talking about the initial configuration of the box, what are the things that we actually need to take care of in the beginning? DNS is the one.
Interface configuration,
Interface configuration is the second. What else?
routing policies,
Routing is the third one, and the fourth one is policies. Great. So you sort of started this, and you know that when I started making any configuration changes for this box, I would always start with an administrator, which is a default one, and it's admin. The username is already hard coded. Only thing that I basically did for this one, I chose the password for it, right? Now the point is, I was just configuring this stuff, right? I did the DNS, I did the interface configuration, I did the routing, and all of a sudden someone just came and said, let's have a cup of coffee somewhere, right? And you started having this cup of coffee, right? And when you came back, you forgot this password. Now, the situation here is that there is no other super user for this box. It's a hardware box, by the way, right? Hardware box, physical box, right? Not a VM running on something, right? You have forgotten the password. You can make try to recall it. You're not able to do that, right? And now you're just cursing that I should have not taken the coffee at all, right? Now, in those, I mean, in these situations, the thing that we actually take care of it here, they take care of is that FortiGate has this procedure for recovery, right? So as long as you're dealing with the, I'll just make it in columns. The first one is hardware, the other one is VM, right? If you have a hardware box and you have lost this password for the super user, the only super user that you actually had in the beginning, and you were not able to, you had not configured the rest of the super users, right? We'll see if you have any other super user created, that super user is actually going to help you resetting this password for the admin one, right? But that now that you don't have created that, you were just doing the initial setup, there is no other super user created yet, right? And you actually lost the user the password for the only administrator in this particular FortiGate, right? So breaking it down into two things, you could either be dealing with the hardware stuff or you could either be dealing with the VMs. So when we are talking about the hardware stuff, right, there is this method of resetting a lost admin password. So what do they tell you? They say that, okay, you just start power cycling this device, right? So what is power cycling? Power cycling means you either, if this is a box over here, there's this power cable connected, right? It is just connected to the wall, and this is the power socket, right? So they say that just do a hard power cycle. Hard power cycle means just get this cable out and then plug it back, right? And when you plug in the cable back, the FortiGate will start booting. It's important to mention that there is no on-off button for the FortiGate. Keep it in mind. It's not a box that you're going to plug and then turn on a button. No. The moment it triggers that, okay, there is some power being connected to me, it starts booting, right? Now that you have disconnected the cable, you connected it back, it triggers that, okay, someone just connected this power injector on me. I have to start booting, right? It boots and within the 60 seconds, right? By the way, this is going to vary by model. Within 60 seconds, you have to type the user as maintainer. And we are talking about the hardware stuff, right? It is maintainer, right? Maintainer. You start with this particular username, and then the password is BCPB, starting with this. Then don't leave a space and type the serial number of this box here, right? And they have to be in uppercase, by the way. and it's actually going to get into the maintainer mode, right? Where you could sort of do, uh, you can change the password there, right? You get into the maintainer mode, and then this is, I mean, this is sort of a critical, or yeah, the critical user that they actually created for all such situations, right? So you can log in into the box using the maintainer username, right? And then you can sort of change the password of your uh, super admin, or the only admin that's actually there, right? Now, what happens if you have the VM? What would happen to the VMs? Any questions regarding this hardware stuff? I mean, we are just discussing how you can reset a lost admin password for the hardware devices. We're definitely going to discuss the VMs as well. But do you have any questions for the hardware one? The only reason why we're not able to see this in lab is because in lab we have the VMs only, right? We cannot just replicate this in lab, right? So how we do it in the labs where we have the VMs, we'll discuss very shortly. But do you have any questions for this one?
Oh, all good.
No questions.
All good? Okay. Now here's the thing. How would I access the FortiGate when I have um, lost the admin password? I'm just power cycling it, right? How do I access it? I mean, I have to access the box. How do I do that? Anyone?
Connecting the console cable, maybe?
Exactly. Yeah. So you're doing it by connecting the console cable. So if this is the box, right? If this is the power cable, this is the cord, right? You just got it out, plugged it back, right? It starts booting, but before it does that, you have to make sure that there is one port called as console port, right? We have discussed this particular thing in the very beginning. You connect it with the help of console cable, connect that particular cable to your PC, right? And on the PC, you can just go to the device manager and see which COM port is being used, which COM port of your PC is connecting this particular device serially, because it doesn't have any IP address, right? And you get to know about the COM port in the device manager, right? Open the console over here, and then say that, okay, the user has to be maintainer. The password has to start with BCPB and then the serial number. Now, the another question is, where is the serial number? Yeah, this is uppercase, by the way. This is written behind the box, right? Now, what will happen to the VMs then? See, for the VMs, not this one.
Sorry to
Let's try to
interrupt
demonstrate.
you.
Yeah,
You were saying that maintainer username. You were mentioning that. So, do you mean that this maintainer, I mean, this FortiGate is gonna take the maintainer username only after, I mean, after booting the FortiGate only for the 60 seconds?
for
What
the
happens
60
for the rest?
seconds. Yeah.
So after 60 seconds, it's not gonna take that username, right?
No, it won't take that username. So it's like this particular period. So it starts booting, right? For first 60 seconds, if you trigger it with the user maintainer, it goes into the maintenance mode,
Okay.
right? And this is not available beyond 60 seconds. Beyond 60 seconds, it's definitely the console is still staying there. It doesn't go anywhere, but the only thing that it will actually accept is admin, and you already
Mhm.
lost the password, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Now, what happens would happen in the VMs? Now this is the next topic, right? For the VMs, see, whenever we are talking about the VMs, VM is something which is a machine, but it's a virtual machine, right? It is a virtual machine. If I am saying that FortiGate is a virtual machine, I say that FortiGate VM, right? It means it's nothing but a program or a software, right? That resembles with the core operating system of the FortiGate, right? So in the hardware box, the same program is written on some bare metal, right? And in the VM, it is the same program, which is the FortiOS, but it's running on some different operating system, right? Now, if I talk about the VMs, if you have FortiOS, it's being hosted. Let's say that I have this ESXi. ESXi is one of the bare metal servers, right? Uh, when I say bare metal server, it means that it has the capability of hosting multiple operating systems with the help of virtualization. Again, something that we already discussed in the very beginning, right? And it can basically give you all the resources that you would need. For example, CPU, memory, hard disk, right? And the IO, right? Now, I have a hypervisor over here, right? It is basically translating the calls of ESXi from FortiOS and FortiOS to ESXi, right? And when I am hosting this FortiOS on this one, I could sort of open this. I can mount it in my network based on the requirements, right? Now, the question here is when I am basically putting this VM over the ESXi, right? Every time there is any of the VMs that is being hosted on the ESXi, you can get the snapshots, right? What is snapshot? It is the level of config, right? Which means that if you started this if you started with this FortiGate today, right, you did the configurations, right? And you sort of made each and everything. You did DNS, routing, policies, interfaces, and next day when you came, you had forgotten the admin password and also you had not created any other user, any other administrator. But there is one thing that you had done was that you had took the snapshot on this ESXi for this VM, right? So you can revert to that snapshot. This is one of the ways of recovery. Revert to previous snapshot, right? So for any config changes that you have done, right? Uh, now the point here is that it could possibly make sense that when you have that snapshot, which has this administrator, and you have the password that you could actually recall, right? Let me just try to break it down this way. So let's say that on Monday, you did the initial configuration, right? And you also sort of changed the password uh, for admin. You kept it, for example, maybe I would say uh, 1 to 4, right? At 3031 is the password that you actually kept for this. And on the Monday afternoon, you came and you started changing this password, right? Right. And you kept it maybe like something that you're not able to recall. But before, okay, this one is, I would say let's call this evening, right? And one more phase is uh, noon, right? In the known, you took the snapshot, right? You're able to recall this one, you're not able to recall this one, right? What you can do is you can come back and say that, okay, I'm not able to recall this one. What I can do is, since I don't have any password recovery mechanism for the VMs, I can revert to the snapshot, right? Now the point is, what if you had not sort of changed this in the very first place? You started with the initial configuration, you actually forgot everything. You are not able to recall anything. You don't recall any other password, right? What are you going to do? In that case, what you would be doing is you had to reprovision the VM. You know what reprovision means? It means doing it from the scratch. So everything has lost, right? So that is what actually happens when you have lost the password. As long as you're dealing with the hardware, there's a maintainer user, which is actually going to help you with getting into the maintenance mode, and you can sort of change the password for the only admin that's actually there, right? The other thing is that if you are actually dealing with the VMs, right, you're just doing this initial configuration stuff, and all of a sudden you actually stop, you forgot the password. If there's a possibility of reverting to a snapshot where there is one of the admins created of which you actually remember the password, you can do that. You can go to that snapshot. If you don't, then you have to reprovision the VM. There is no other way. Right. Now, moving forward. Another case, if we are not talking about the only admin that was there in the beginning, if we are talking about some other users, for example, let me just come back, HTTP 128. Let's go to the lab and let's try to do something now. What I'm going to do here is I'll get a FortiGate, FortiGate. Save it. I'm not going to give it internet because I want to get rid of the NTP first. So there you go, it's booting right now. Again, guys, this is a VM. It's hosted in the VMware of this particular machine, right? So we are not able to reset the password for this. The only way is to just reprovision it, right? All right, admin 123 123. I want to see the IP address. I do diag IP address list. No IP. Okay, that's understood because it's not connected to the internet right now. So I do config system NTP. If I want to see the current configuration, I want to say set NTP sync disable, set server mode disable. I do end, and I'm going to turn this off. Now I'll bring the management cloud over here, save it, and there you go. Now boot it again. So what we're basically going to do now is I'm going to create a scenario where I have multiple admins created. I have not lost the only admin password now. This is a condition. If you have lost the only admin password, right, which is something that shows up in the beginning of or the initial configuration, if you have lost that one and you are not able to create anything else, you have not created any other administrator, right? In that case, whatever we have discussed till now is applicable. For example, for hardwares, as long as you have a hardware, you're able to just uh, uh, power cycle it, right, and then connect the console, get that particular window, and sort of get in the maintainer mode and then change the password. Works fine. If you have VMs, there is no other possibility. You just have to provision it unless and until you could recall any other password for this only administrator. If you have that snapshot, you can revert to that. If you don't have, just reprovision it. There is no other way, right? Now, right now, we are going to replicate the other scenario where uh, I know the password of admin, right? I started creating some other super users as well, but one of them actually forgot his username. So what are we going to do in those situations? Let me check if I have the IP address, the IP address list. I got 136 IP, so I do HTTP 136. Hmm. What is config system interface edit port 1? I do show, should work, but it doesn't work. Oh, HTTP. Is there any conflict? Looks fine. Yeah, something is happening now. Okay. Admin 123. Later, don't show. Okay. And then I come to the administrators. I create a situation where I say that I had multiple admins. So I'm going to create one admin over here. I say Sahran. It's a local one. I create the password 123456. 123456. Admin profile is a super user, super admin, and then I click on OK. Right. Now, Saran comes back and says that he lost his password. Right. So what will Saran do? Right. Me being also an administrator, although I don't have any other or a specific uh, admin password of mine, I still log in with the only admin pass, which is the default admin actually, right? What I'm going to do here is I'll log in with that one, or even if I have mine active, I can just do that. Or let's just create one for me as well. System administrators, create new. I say that Saran's actually reaching out to some other admin. I say Nasir, right? Now this one is going to be 124. There is no space. Control C, Control V. I say Nasir is also super admin, right? Now Saran sort of comes and says, "Hey Nasir, I just lost the password of my only account, the one that I was given. So can you just help me out? Now that I'm also a super user, I'm also an administrator of this FortiGate. I just log in with mine. I say this is Nasir and this should be the password. I come here and I sort of have to play with Saran's account now, right? I say don't show again. Come here, go to the system, go to the administrators, right? I come here to Sahran and I say change password. Now, old password is something that I don't have. If I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I click on OK. Oh, invalid old password. Now that is tricky. Would I be able to do it in the config system admin? I say show and then I do edit Sahran. That is not the one. I say abort config system admin, edit Sahran. If I want to show the current config, I say set password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so let me just check if Sahran will be able to log in via this particular password now. If I want to verify this, I say config system admin, I do show, did it change? ENCSH, it ends with H0S6G. Yeah, looks like. So the password that we're basically keeping for Sahran is this one, and I have logged in as Nasir, right? Now let's say if Sahran would be able to log in or not. So I'm going to get to the incognito over here. I do HTTP and I want to do 136 admin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh,
Sahran.
it's Sahran. Yeah, Sahran 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There you go. So Sahran is able to log in into the FortiGate. So that's how you basically, I mean, if you have multiple super users created, uh, in those situations, you can actually take help from some different super user who can actually help you with changing password of the box. Right. This is one of the scenarios where you have lost the password of the box and you sort of want to
Hello.
get it changed. Yes, Sarah. Sarah just
What
lost
if
the
we
password. Mhm.
yeah, what if we delete the existing profile of Sehran and recreate a new one?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. Like, do we have any sort of credentials stored there or something else is there? For example, I'm whenever I log in into FortiGate using my profile,
Mhm.
in my existing profile, does there any sort of data getting stored with my name under my name or something like that?
So you mean when you have logged in and you sort of make the changes on
Yeah.
the FortiGate, does it store the logs or something that you did actually something?
Yeah, I know that logs will be stored there,
Mhm.
but something which only I have access on. The existing profile is having the access to some sort of credentials or some sort of settings. And if we delete the existing profile, and it might do something in the backend.
If you delete Sahran, it's going to do something in the backend.
Yeah,
What exactly?
like I might have changed some settings, and if we delete the profile,
Mhm.
so there might be something like that. There might be chances to get
Okay.
something.
Yeah, what I'm basically able to get out of it is that if Sahran being an administrator is deleted from here, will it break
Mm,
something on this FortiGate related to Sahran, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So there is one thing which is actually called references, right? For administrators, there are no references. But if you're a user, on this FortiGate, right? There's a difference being a user of this FortiGate and being an administrator of this FortiGate, right? User is like someone comes and gets mapped with the username and password, right? And then tries to access something. So that is more of a data traffic, right? Administrators is more related to the management traffic because you're trying to manage your FortiGate with the help of your credentials. And these credentials become your admin credentials, right? It possibly will not break anything, right? Only thing that it actually breaks is the chain of access for you to this box, right? But if you're a user, which you're actually going to see in future, and then you are basically created over here, where is it? User and authentication, you are actually being created here in the user definition, right? These users are later on called in the policies. They're also called in the SSL VPN, making sure that only these particular users have access uh, to SSL VPN, or only these users have access to some of the other uh, infrastructure or on-premises setup, any server, any particular device, right? You sort of define that within the policies, right? If you sort of play with that particular user, then definitely all those policies, the SSL VPN or anything else where this particular user is referenced gets impacted. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, all right, guys. So we're going to keep today's session a little short because we already started late. It's probably late for some people. So I will see you in the next session now. If you have any questions right now, please go ahead.
No questions, please.
No questions. Anything from your side, Fazan?
No, as of now.
All right. Okay, please take care. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.